All right, joining us is one of the all-time greats, and certainly with the Olympics going down, man coached 3 gold medals out of 3 men's national teams. He is Mike Krzyzewski here on the Rich Eisen Show. Good to see you, Coach.
Yeah, it's great to be on. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting here. I'm like all my memories of back in the day when I used to have hair and did Sports Center kind of as rushing my way. I remember meeting you for the first time at a Jimmy V golf tournament in North Carolina with Stuart Scott, just chatting it up with you before I destroyed the golf course in a bad way. I just, those memories are coming back to me right now, Coach. So,
It's ironic that you're saying that. I'm getting ready to head out to Napa. I host a V wine celebration there for 20 years, and it's really a huge event. We raised $21 million last year. Hopefully we'll raise between 10 and 12 at least this year. And the V Foundation's done an amazing job. And it got kicked off by having golf tournaments and things like that. So thank you for helping us get started.
oh no, I just remember all of those events, and those were great times. And obviously in support of something that
Right.
I kind of can't believe, to be honest with you, Stuart Scott is kind of in the same sentence as Jimmy V because of speeches
Right.
that they both gave, riddled with cancer at the ESPY Awards.
Yeah.
And that Stewart did pretty much what Jimmy did, and it's his spirit that lives on, and I'm sure will be mentioned at this event that you're talking about in Napa.
Yeah,
Coach.
and Stewart, they have events honoring his great memory, and his family has been terrific in support. And really, Jimmy and Stewart showed incredible courage and the ability to show themselves at that time when they're fighting in, there was not a cure anymore, but they were visible. And those type of things are uncommon. And you're talking about 2 really amazing guys in Jimmy and Stewart.
When did you first meet Jim Valvano? Let's hit the Wayback
I
Machine.
played against him. He was at Rutgers and I was playing at West Point, and then I coached against him, and he was at Iona and I was at West Point. We came down together to North Carolina the same year. And then once he stopped coaching, we became like great friends. And during the last 6 months of his life, we were like brothers. And so he recruited me to be on the V team, and I've been on it for 3 decades now. And the V Foundation's done wonders.
I bet, no question about it. And hosannas to you for that, Coach K here on the Rich Eisen Show. So, what is the challenge of coaching a men's national team at the Olympics with all of the greats that are at your disposal on the bench and to start, Coach?
Well, I think the main thing, Rich, is the fact that there's only one outcome that you can have. That is, you win. You have to win, and that's what I told all of our teams, that don't worry about minutes, scoring, and whatever. People are only going to ask you one question: did you win? And if you can answer yes, we'll be a very happy guy, and we'll be a very happy team. I think it's a different game. It's 40 minutes. The ball is different. It has 2 extra panels. It's administered a little bit differently. And FIBA, the Federation for International Basketball, it's a different game. And you have to learn, you can't impose your game on them. You have to learn to play their game. And so these teams are really good. 1/4 of the NBA are international players, and so it's not like there's not this awe factor that like the Dream Team had in '92, where wow, we're playing the U.S. team. These teams look at it as, hey, a number of these guys that I play against them in almost 100 games, during the NBA season. And it's an opportunity for them. In one game, I think the mentality to have in the NBA, It can be the seventh game. You can be 3-3. Each game, once you get into the medal round, is the seventh game. The quarters, the semis, and obviously the finals. It's one and done.
Yeah, I know, and again, even when the showcases were going down just a week ago,
Right.
and the close call to South Sudan, and the showcases were close calls. I'm sitting here at this desk, and I'm not saying that the men's national team isn't as good as it should be. I'm looking at the other competition. I'm looking at, say, like Team Canada. SGA
Right.
and Jamal Murray and RJ Barrett. They're not looking at Team USA going, uh-oh, we got trouble. Like, that's an NBA team in its own right there in Canada.
Right. And some of these teams are being coached by NBA coaches. And, look, the world is really good. And so winning is never easy, but winning in the Olympics is difficult. And so Steve Kerr and his staff have done a really good job. And they have two more pool games to play, Puerto Rico and South Sudan. And then the Olympics are different than when I coached in that it's always 12 teams, but it used to be 2 6-team pools. And then the top 4 from each, it would go forward. Now you have to, there are 3 4-team pools. And so 6 of the teams are 1 and 2 in each of those pools. And then the 2 third-place teams will make it based on point differential. So it's a little bit, it's different. And it's different. But after these next 2 games, it'll really be different because it's one and done. And I feel good about our team. The thing, Rich, that we can do better than any country in the world is play defense. And if we defend the 3 and don't put them on the foul line, I think we'll win.
And obviously having, a deep roster, Coach K, helps. What did you think when you heard Steve Kerr say he felt like an idiot giving Jayson Tatum his first DNP CD perhaps in his life, Coach?
Well, it is difficult because it's 40 minutes and, you can't play 12 guys and have continuity. And so whatever rotation they decide on, and hopefully the players, they're all in tune to that. You have to have some level of continuity. These other teams have continuity. They don't play 12 players. They play 8, 9 maybe, and they play more minutes together. And so it's a difficult assignment. And we usually ended up with a rotation of about 9 players, and 3 others would play limited minutes or not play at all. And whatever happens for the team, you accept it because, again, you get back to that one question: did we win? Okay, this is the way we have to do it. As long as we win, I'm okay with everything. There are no individual accolades. It's got to be a collective effort and a collective accolade when our team is standing on the podium there, getting gold medals around their necks, and the national anthem is being played. It'll all be worth it. So everyone's got to just buy in and do what that coaching staff wants them to do.
Although in any of the Olympic Games, Coach, did you ever during a game look down at the bench and go, oh, that's right, that's an all-time great, I haven't played a single lick yet? Did you ever have moments like that?
No, I never did that. And a reason when we got together, we would create standards for our team of how we're going to live together. And I asked each one of my players on each of the teams, I said, you have to pledge to me that you'll do anything that we ask you to do in order to win the gold medal. And they did. And so I never I was never worried about that. We had great guys, and this team has great guys. You know, I think you make too much of something. You know, the main thing we should make too much of is how we're going to beat South Sudan, how we're going to beat Puerto Rico, and not get caught up in all the other stuff. You know, we didn't have social media during that time, which probably helped. Uh, uh, Not probably, it did help because then there are just too many opinions, you know, and really you have to blank out all those other opinions and just say, what's our opinion, not my opinion. In other words, be a team of plural pronouns. What are we going to do? What's our mission? And I can tell you, I loved. You know, we won 5 straight championships, so 3 Olympics and 2 Worlds. You know, and the guys that were on those teams were terrific. They were unbelievable.
Coach K here on the Rich Eisen Show. I don't know if you heard during the broadcast of the men's team's victory to open the Olympics against Serbia. Dwayne Wade at the microphone told a story about scrimmaging prior to the 08 games in Beijing, and how you put Kobe and LeBron on the same team, and how Dwayne Wade and the guys on the other team kind of took a little bit of notice of that. I'm wondering what your perspective on that story is.
Well, I don't remember exactly doing that, but it's probably the team that I was going to coach. So
nice.
I've always been a decent recruiter. Nice. By the way, Dwayne has done an amazing job.
I think so too.
Yeah, and on that team, Rich, you know, Dwayne was hurt that spring. We weren't sure if he was going to play, and then I said, "You got to play," and he did. And I said, "I'm going to bring you off the bench," and he did. He came off the bench. He was our leading scorer. And he came off the bench with Chris Paul, Darren Williams, and Chris Bosh. Not all. Usually we sub the 4 of them. And I called Dwayne during that time Rocket Man when he came in. He was amazing and not good. But we had a continuity there. And then at the end of games, we had it wasn't a starting team. You tried to create a closing team. You know, who would the 5 or 6 guys in the last 5 minutes of crunch time, you know, would work together the best. And the beautiful thing about our players is they're positionless. You know, you can have 5 players out there who really don't have one position. They just know how to play basketball. And that's kind of the way we try to coach them.
So your favorite Kobe story, what do you have? Your favorite Kobe Bryant?
Well, I have a bunch of them.
What do you have?
Yeah, I'll tell you, he's the best prepared player I've ever seen and coached or heard about. 2 days before we started training camp in Las Vegas, I was with my staff, and there was a knock on the door, and it was Kobe. He came 2 days early, and he said, "I need to have I need to have a meeting with you." I thought he was going to drop out. My heart dropped. And we went into a room, and he looked at me, he said, "I need for you to do me a favor." And I felt good. I said, "Okay, he's still with us." and I said, "Of course, I can do you a favor." And he said, I want to guard the best perimeter player on every team that we play." And then he paused, and Rich, he leaned forward then, you know, he had these penetrating, beautiful eyes, and he said, "Coach, I promise I'll destroy him." And I wanted to put out a contract right then, but I didn't. And so every practice, he wanted to be the best defensive player. And in his mind, this is how he worked. He knew that in order for us to win the gold medal, we wanted the 2 best teams in the world besides us were Spain and Argentina, and that we would have to beat Argentina, and he wanted to guard Ginobili. And that's his vision. And finally, we played Argentina in the semis, and we're beating them by 20 points, and Ginobili got hurt. And after he got hurt, they came back with 8, 10 points of us because Kobe needed to be motivated like that. And remember, at that time, he was the best player in the world and the leading scorer in the NBA. And he wanted to show everyone that I'll do the dirty work and I'll play defense. He was a magnificent player and competitor and guy.
I love it. A few minutes left with Coach K here on the Rich Eisen Show. Talk a little bit about the here and now by going in the Wayback Machine. When's the first time you met Dan Hurley, Coach?
Oh, when we recruited his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, in their home. Bobby was really one of the great college players of all time and led us to 2 national championships and 3 Final Fours. But I knew their father, Bob, is one of the great coaches of all time and a great guy. And then Danny went on to play at Seton Hall for PJ Carlesimo. And we've kept up a friendship. Actually, to be quite frank with you, he and I had a long talk on the phone last night because I'm working with the NBA now. We're trying to form a little bit of an alliance with college basketball to upgrade what's happening in our country with basketball, with shot clocks, with play the game the same way. And Danny's going to be the collegiate game, I think, needs to change in access and maybe in how they play the game. And a lot of coaches feel that way. So we're trying to, anyway, it's a process, but Danny will be a huge part of that with all the success he's had and his feel for the game.
Well, and obviously he could have been in the NBA, chose not to.
Right.
So, man, there's so many different ways I can go here right now. Is it true that were you part of the Lakers search process in any way, shape, or form? You were not.
No, I was. No, I know. Obviously, when JJ was involved, I'm going to be involved because he's one of my former players, and so we're going to talk. And I know Rob Pelinka. He's been a friend for 25 years, but I was not a consultant or anything like that. I'd give an opinion. If JJ asked for something or Rob said, "What do you think of JJ?" And but not as a consultant. That's stretching it.
So, and obviously, though, Dan kind of went, if you will, in a similar path as you. Where
But I didn't talk, Rich. I didn't talk to Danny during that process at all. And he didn't. If he would have called, I would have. Obviously, he's a good friend. But I felt, I think Danny Hurley can handle that by himself. And he would have been a great hire for the Lakers, but I think JJ is a great hire also.
Of course, no doubt about that. And I do want to hit your 2 cents on that before I do let you go. But were you surprised that Dan stayed in UConn, knowing where the college game is NIL, transfer portal happening during the NCAA tournament? I mean, where obviously there are trappings in the pros as well. But you could move to Los Angeles, coach LeBron James for the Lakers. You had an opportunity to coach the Lakers, but stayed in college. So I'd love to get your perspective on what Dan Hurley eventually decided to do.
Well, I think instead of looking at all the problems, and it is a landscape that needs to be navigated intelligently and collectively for college basketball, but the Hurley family has been committed to the game of basketball forever. I mean, their father is really one of the great guys and great coaches, and their whole family is basketball. And so I think he understood his commitment. One is he understood his commitment to Connecticut, and what a great institution and program that Jim Calhoun started there, and it's continued. And I think he likes that challenge, and he loves college, and I think he really loves the East Coast. They're firmly entrenched there in the New York, Connecticut, New Jersey area. So I think his commitment to the game was part of the reason that he stayed, and he's as he's one of the leaders right now for college basketball, maybe the top leader, or at least one of the top two or three. And you have a responsibility. You can't just accept. You can't just win trophies, although those are nice to win. You have to make a commitment to the game. And he's a lifer. His family are lifers. They have a huge commitment to basketball. And I love them. I don't like them. I love them.
So before I let you go, what are your 2 cents for JJ Redick, if you're willing to share them with us, that you have imparted to him?
No, I think JJ is a great hire, and he's surrounding himself with good coaches. JJ is a great competitor, not a good one. And he's really smart about the game. I think he's smart outside the game too. And he wants to coach. He has a passion to coach, and he has learned a lot. I think by having a 15-year NBA career, he has empathy for players. He's been exposed to a lot of coaches. And then in his the podcasts he's done and the work he's done on TV, he's learned even more. And I think it's a really good hire. And obviously I'm pulling for him. I love JJ, and he made many of the plays that I put in work because JJ was the main guy in those plays. He's as good a shooter as ever played in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Coach K, what a pleasure to catch up with you. I'd love to do this more often if you're willing. Certainly, if you ever find yourself in Southern California. I know, again, you're going to be in Northern California for the fundraiser. V.org is where you can go and donate to learn more about the V Foundation. Coach, appreciate the time, sir. Always.
No, I enjoyed it. Thank you so much for having me on.
Right back at you. You bet. That's Mike Krzyzewski getting set to head up again for yet another V Foundation fundraiser in the midst of the Olympics right here on The Rich Eisen Show. Catch The Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.